What's up, vapors? Thanks for checking out Daily Vape TV. My name is Nick, and it's Fresh Build Friday. That's right, we got a brand new coil for you guys to try out today. Today we're going to be doing a Tiger Coil. Also, make sure you stick around till the end of the video because I will be giving away a Kennedy 24mm in stainless steel. I got it right here. That's what we're going to be giving away, with a big shout out to my buddy Jay. He's the one that gave this thing to me for the purpose of this giveaway. So thanks a lot, Jay. Really do appreciate it. Now get out of here. Anyways, so we got a Tiger Coil for you guys today. It's a pretty easy build, but I wanted to kind of baby step you into the more intricate builds. Today's the first time we're going to be using the old trusty drill in quite some time. And we're going to be spinning up some wire. So I've got 24 gauge Kanthal and 0.5mm ribbon wire. That's what I'm going to be using for this particular style Tiger Coil, but feel free to use whatever you want. It's just going to change the overall resistance a little bit depending on what you like to vape. So that's the one I'm going with today, and I think it's going to be a great build. I've got this brand new Coil Master kit that I bought down in Florida at Moon Mountain Vapor that I'm going to be kind of showcasing most of the tools out of that in this build. So that being said, make sure you stick around to the end of the video, but enjoy the build. Grab your wick, grab your wire, grab your addy, grab your mod, and let's build it up. Alright guys, let's get ready to go for this Tiger wire coil here. So we're going to be building on the Kennedy 24 on the Rouleau today, but we won't need that for a little bit, so let's just move that out of the way. I'm going to be using my Coil Master kit that I showed you earlier. I'm going to try to use as many things in this kit as possible for this build. So here we go. We have some Moon Mountain 24 gauge Kanthal that I picked up in Brandon, Florida when I was there at the shop. Those guys have been awesome to me, and when I was supposed to do a coil build class, we ended up only doing a battery safety, but nevertheless, they gave me some 24 gauge Kanthal wire to use during the class there, and we've got some 0.5 flat Kanthal here as well. Now I know I haven't used this stuff in quite a while, so this is going to be a little bit fun. Now the other big piece of machinery we got here is the drill. It's just a regular old wireless, cordless DeWalt drill. Use whatever you got though. So first things first, let's go ahead and get this Kanthal out of the package. We're going to cut off about 1.5 feet of this wire here. So let's go ahead and do that. Now it comes with snips. So these are new to me. Personally, I still like mine better, but we'll just make do with what we got so far. And just clip that like so. And the first thing we're going to do actually is going to be straighten out this Kanthal. So usually what I like to do is I make a little bit of a bend on the Kanthal wire. And the reason I do that is so I can clamp it in one of the sides of the drill chuck. And I'll just bring the drill in real quick to show you what I'm talking about. So you just have that little extra lead hanging out the side. I know it's a little bit difficult to see, but hopefully you guys get the picture there. Now we're just going to tighten that down, getting that Kanthal coming right out the middle of the chuck of the drill. Make sure it's good and tight. Then we take the needle nose end. We'll just lock in this end with the needle nose pliers. And you just want to spin up the drill for a few seconds. There we go. Now we have a very nice straight piece of Kanthal. Now you're just going to take some of this flat ribbon wire. Same exact length. Oh geez, same exact length that we cut here, and we're just going to cut that piece off like so, and try not to get the spool going everywhere, so we lock it into our little hole there. So the secret to Tiger wire is you got to keep the flat ribbon wire parallel, perfectly parallel, say that 10 times fast, to your 24 gauge. So I'm just going to clip off a little bit of that excess on this side here. And I usually wrap 1 or 2 wraps around just by hand. It doesn't have to be pretty. This is all going to get cut off by the the drill anyways, so it's just to kind of lock in that flat ribbon wire around the canthal there. And now once again we bring in the drill, and I'm actually going to do my little bend as well. I find that that really helps when I'm claptoning wires or anything like that, just to really secure it into place really well. You know, everyone's got their little techniques that they pick up, so that's kind of my thing that I do. And I'm going to move the coil master kit out of the way for now. So run your fingers along the length of that wire and make sure that flat ribbon wire stays perfectly parallel. And you want it as tight as possible. You want to try to get both wires with your pliers. I'm rhyming all over the place today, jeez. So try to latch on to both wires with those needle nose that you got. Sometimes it takes a few tries. All right, we're looking pretty good. Make sure all that slack is out. And now you just spin up the drill, and this one you can kind of just go at it. I like to start off a little bit slower and then get it to a good average speed. So here we go. All right, so this is what we ended up with. This is our Tiger wire, and as you can see that it has like these nice uniform little twists where the flat ribbon just kind of got up in between the twists with the 24 gauge. And we're not going super crazy sub-ohm with this stuff, so it should be good. I'm actually going to just now clip off the excess stuff that we had in our chuck of the drill, and then cut it right around the middle, like that. And then trim off the excess on this end as well, like that. And now we are ready to wrap some coils. So let's go ahead and get out the other piece, which is the coil jig. Today we're going to be wrapping around a 3mm bit. So let's grab that 3mm bit out there. We've got the 3mm other end, whatever you want to call it. Now this coil jig is different. This is one where you take the whole top side off here, put in the 3mm bit, slide the top cap over, and it secures nice into place like that. So, normal routine kind of coil wrapping here. You're just going to put the wire in whichever way you feel comfortable. Personally, I like wrapping overhand, so I'm going to use this side. And I do like a little half wrap around like so. Now which one's the 3mm? Here's the 3mm, and we're just going to start wrapping. So we're going to do, I think we'll do about 8 wraps today. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. I'm kind of surprised by how rigid this stuff is. Usually when you twist up wires it can be a little bit springy, but this stuff is actually pretty rigid, which I like. Now I'm going to use my little needle nose here to do my normal 90-degree bend with another 90-degree back, ever so slightly. Just moving over just a few little millimeters there. Take it out of the bit, squish it back together, and we got ourselves a coil, just like that. Pretty easy. I'm just going to go ahead and repeat that process, and I'll be with you in just a second. And with the help of a little video magic, here we go. We have our 2 coils. So now we're going to be ready to install them. Let's just put those aside for right now. We'll bring in the mod. Focus on that. So just like any other coil build, you're just going to install them like you normally do. So one coil goes in. And I like the extra long kind of bit on this thing because you can really get in there no problem with a lot of room to spare and just kind of shift around those coils if you have to. And usually I like to really tweak my coils around, as you can see. So we're just going to do our normal kind of coil building thing and just lock them in when you feel comfortable. Now, one thing I was a little bit bummed on is that when I received this thing, the Phillips head screwdriver just kind of spins around. It doesn't lock into place, so that came to me broken. So Coil Master, if you're listening, if you could replace that, that would be wonderful. But the flathead side will work for what we're doing right now, which is just tightening down. Now you want them tight, but not too tight. You got to be a little bit gentle with this stuff. We're not going to worry about cleanliness or anything like that right now, so we just lift that up and get it out of the way. And we're ready to go for our next coil. This stuff is like barbed wire or something. It's like, it feels very almost sharp in a way. I guess it's that the ridges on the flat ribbon wire. That's kind of what you're feeling. There we go. But it's definitely different, you know. It's not your standard wire. I mean, this is one of the easiest kind of intricate builds, I guess you could say. One of the easiest intricate builds, and that's kind of what I'm trying to do here, is just show you guys, baby step you guys basically into more intricate builds. And this is definitely a good starting place. And honestly, I thought of this just kind of randomly today. I'm like, what can I do? How can I start them off with a good build that I would be happy with watching? And I'm like, you know what? No one's done it in a while. No one's done a Tiger Coil. So voila, here we go. Now my coils are right where I want them. Just going to tighten them down and maybe a little bit of adjustment here. Tighten them into place. And we can kind of get in here with these snips. Chomp off that excess wire. I don't know why there's dog hair everywhere. Jesus. Or it might be cotton, I'm not sure. And we do the typical little swirl technique, I guess, as long as our positive is tight. Just got to be careful. I don't want to strip it. Okay, so now you just want to get it back in there with the little bit and just kind of lift up on those coils. Make sure they're not sitting right on top of your airflow holes. Straighten it out, you know, make sure they're nice and even and everything. You want them even this way, and this way, as even as possible. So I know it can be a difficult task sometimes, but you know, the more even it is, the more even it'll fire up. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So next up we have our ceramic tweezers. Those are going to come in handy. I'm going to fire it at a somewhat low wattage. This is at 68 watts. And with these ceramic tweezers, you can actually pinch them as you fire your mod. And I can actually feel that kind of compressing when it's in the grip of the ceramic tweezers. Now this is going to hot spot like crazy because these wires aren't completely perfectly sitting next to each other, so you just definitely got to work with these a little bit and iron out any of the little hot spots that might be happening. We're already looking pretty good though, so we're in good shape. I feel like we're almost there. Just going to put the bit back through and kind of stretch out that wire one more time. And there you go. I think that looks pretty good. So let's let these coils cool off for a second and then we'll wick it. So I know what you're going to say. You're going to ask me, why didn't you use the ohms reader? Well, I don't have any AA batteries that will work. It says right on the package that it requires 1.5 volt batteries, and the ones that I brought were 1.2 volts. So unfortunately, I have to kind of rely on the old ohms reader on here, which is 0.28, I believe. 0.28 ohms. So this is a good safe build on pretty much any device that you got. So I'm probably going to be able to vape it hopefully at a slightly higher wattage than I normally vape. So right now it's at about 70 watts. We're going to try to push it up to about 100 watts and see what that vape's like. And yeah, so we have our little cotton here. This is just some native wicks that I got in my craft vapery box this month. So we're just going to try to just go ahead and rip off a little strip of it and see what we can do here for the wicking. There we go. That looks about right. Yeah, there we go. And time for our final couple little tools here. We got the scissors that are included with this little kit, which probably my least favorite piece of the kit is the scissors. They're not very sharp, they're not very good, but I guess they do the trick. If you're really in a pinch, those scissors will definitely come in handy. But otherwise, I still use my normal, sewing scissors or whatever you want to call them, utility scissors. What do you guys use for scissors? Do you use anything good, real sharp ones? You just, anything that works or what? I mean, I'm a little bit picky about my wicking, so I like to have it nice and even and everything like that. So there we go. We got a nice little fluffed up ends. It's nice and tight in there. Cut it right to the edge of the deck. Not the worst scissors I've ever seen, but they definitely could be a little bit better. Now, these are really handy, I gotta tell you. For fluffing up your wicks, just kind of brushing them up like that. If you wanted to comb them, you can comb them a little bit. I know a lot of people say they rake their cotton so that it drags pieces of it through the coils and everything like that. I mean, these are super, super sharp. They're going to get any little excess fluff balls off of your cotton, and you're going to be left with nice, clean cotton pieces there, whatever you want to call them. So it gets rid of all that fluff. And these are also very useful for tucking them into the well, the juice well at the bottom here, which is what I'm doing right now. Yeah, let's use some Cold Fusion today. We got some Cold Fusion, the new one, Typhoon. If you haven't tried it yet, it's like a tropical smoothie. It's delicious. It's a clean all-day vape. So let's go ahead and juice this baby up. Alright, so let's back the camera off real quick and I'll show you guys some vapor production now. I'm going to start it off low. I'll start it off at the 68 watts we pulsed it at. So here we go. Nah, that's not enough. Let's crank this baby up. Let's go up to 100 watts. Alright, here she is at 100 watts. That's a little more my style. Alright guys, so let's go back to the main screen, have a quick chat about this build, and we'll go over some of the finer details. Alright guys, so that was the close-up section of this video. Hope you enjoyed the build. Now we're going to go over some of the finer details of this build, and my first category is the heat. Honestly, I'm pretty impressed by the amount of heat that you get. It's not too much, it's not too little or anything like that. It's just the right amount of heat, and I can kind of attribute that to the way the Kennedy 24 is set up. With the bottom airflow, it shoots it right at the coils, and I also have the wide bore top cap to this thing, so it's giving me plenty of airflow, and it's kind of cooling down the vapor a little bit, even at 100 watts. Now, I have to mention that the resistance has jumped up to 0.32 ohms. At 100 watts, it's running at 5.66 volts. So that is a lot of, a lot of voltage, a lot of wattage running through this coil, or these coils, I should say. but overall the heat is not too bad, and I can vape this regularly at 100 watts and take my normal pulls off of it and get the same hit every single time. Very consistent, very smooth. Doesn't really kill the flavor of the juice or anything, but we'll go over that in a second. My next category is the ramp up and ramp down time. Ramp up is a little bit longer than I would expect. At 100 watts, it's almost not even noticeable, but if you don't feel comfortable vaping this kind of build at 100 watts, if you're vaping it at 75 or something like that, you're gonna notice a little bit more ramp up time. Ramp down time is not too bad. I don't get too bad of a sizzle. Let's just put this thing up to the mic and we'll listen to the sizzle a little bit here. So as you can see, almost no sizzle to it whatsoever. So I am really, really impressed with this type of build here, and I think I'm going to be making this one of the builds that I regularly do and put it in my normal rotation. So that being said, my next category is the difficulty of this build, and I'm going to say it's actually, moderate. I don't think this is a very difficult build whatsoever. For anyone that's experienced with a drill and all that stuff, it's not too hard as long as you get those wires really tightly pinched. I had a little bit of trouble my first attempt spinning it up, but when I finally grabbed the flat ribbon and the 24 at the same time and really pinched them hard, I got it no problem. You just spin it up until the wire snaps at the drill end and you're good to go. You're not going to get any kinks in the wire or anything like that. Honestly, I was also impressed with how the wire spun up without an issue. Usually twisted wire tends to be really, really springy, but this stuff, not so much. So that I'm really, really happy with myself with, honestly. My final category is the flavor. I know you guys want to know how the flavor is on this build, and honestly, I gotta say, it's almost up to par with like a Clapton coil. But I find with the Clapton coil, it tends to have a little bit more ramp up time, a little bit higher resistance, depending on, of course, what type of wire you're using and everything. But with this coil here, I get a pretty quick ramp up time and a lot of flavor, and I'm not even using nichrome, so you don't necessarily have to use nichrome to get great flavor off of it. I mean, I absolutely love this Typhoon by Cold Fusion, and I'm very familiar with that flavor, so I could tell you straight up that this is definitely one of the best tasting builds for this particular kind of flavor. I mean, it is very top notch. Really, really impressed with this build. I gotta tell you, I'm glad I started with this coil, and I'm really happy with the way it came out. So let's get to the contest portion of this video. I know you guys are really chomping at the bit about this contest. So pretty simple. My buddy Jay offered me this Kennedy 24. It is slightly used. I got to tell you, it is a little bit lightly used. I'd say it's about an 8.5 or a 9 out of 10 condition wise, but it's only been built a couple of times. So let that be known. If that turns you off to this contest, then there you go. But anyone else that's interested, you're talking a free Kennedy 24, so listen up. All you got to do is make sure you're subscribed to my channel, send me an email to dailyvapetv@gmail.com, and just say the last 2 words that I say in every single video. Pretty easy, right? Just make sure the title of the email is Kennedy 24 Contest or something along those lines, and I'll make sure it gets added to the list that I have for contests. The winner will be announced next Friday. In the next Fresh Build Fridays video, I will have the winner announced. So there you go. Make sure you enter and tell your friends, share it if you want to. There you go. That's all you got to do to enter this contest. Anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed. Make sure you leave a comment in the box below of what types of builds that you want me to do next. I'm kind of baby stepping my way into the more intricate builds. Hopefully I'll get you some fused Claptons, alien wire, that kind of thing in the very near future. But please, please suggest me builds for future videos, because I do these every single week and I tend to kind of run out of inspiration. So I'm kind of relying on you guys to help me out there. Thank you guys so much for all the support, and I love that you guys love these series, so I really do appreciate all the support, all you new subscribers out there. Thank you guys so much. I will be giving you the big contest starting very soon. I've finally got the last little puzzle piece to that in the very near future, so stay tuned for that big giveaway as well. But until that time, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button if you like this video. Check out the advocacy links in the description. I have them there for you. Make sure you're fighting for your right to vape. Also, check me out on all my different social medias. I have Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all that good stuff. Make sure you follow me. The links are down there as well. And as always, vape on.